One thing I was thinking of, and this is, as a topic, I think farmers are interested in as well, which takes us a little bit different direction than the product itself, is the supply chain in general this year.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, it seems like what every ag company in every space, whether it's equipment or chemistry, you sometimes feel like literally everything we ever needed was on that boat in the Suez Canal, because there's none of it available. And it's not just everything from the active ingredients that you need to make the product. It's everything from glue and paint and cardboard and, everything that goes into the packaging and the total sort of sum of the product. Can you, shed some light on, where you guys are seeing that and what you see going forward?
Levi, we were not immune to supply chain disruptions this past year. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be immune from it moving forward for quite some time, right? I think we put some things in place, us specifically, to better manage and better communicate moving forward. But at the end of the day, I would say, I'm not going to speak for the entire industry, but I would say the entire industry let a lot of people down this year, right? And we're not any different in that capacity. We learned how fragile our system is, right? We learned when you see an increase in demand, a couple of plants shutting down, just how significant of an impact that can have on a global supply chain. And yeah, I don't think we've recovered from it either. I think people, I think we'll be able to stay ahead of things and at least be more upfront with people, because all the supply chain disruptions kind of happened at once. So it was kind of like, yes, we're getting everything that we thought we need, and then tomorrow, all of a sudden, we might not be getting anything. I can tell you, we as an organization have changed some approaches, not only from the technical supply side of things, but in formulation side of things as well. That should give us more flexibility, the ability to respond a little bit better. Will it ever be perfect? I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, Levi, and say we're not going to see issues ever again, right? But we will try to be better communicating exactly what to expect moving forward.
One of the things that's maybe helped you manage this a little bit is that you do have quite a bit of domestic manufacturing capability as well. And I talk about in Canada, but also in the US, as opposed to, so you're not as reliant on literally everything coming through a total export or import channel.
That's right. When it comes to the end use product, we have quite a bit of flexibility. Where we found most of our issues, I would say, were the supply of the raw materials going into that end formulation. And like you hit it square on the head, right? Some days it was, the caps for the bottles. The other days it was ink for the labels. Sometimes it was actually the technical ingredient. And it seemed like each product had its own unique circumstance. So it wasn't like a single issue that we could try to address throughout our supply chain, which was made it all that more frustrating. But yeah, we do have Canadian operations, we have U.S. operations, South American operations that do help with the end use part of the manufacturing, which is nice, right? When you work with your own internal sites, right, you can have upfront conversations. There's no beating around the bush. This is what it is. This is when you'll have it. And it's just a little more clear-cut conversation when you're working within your own organization.
I think that honestly is probably the biggest. I mean, the price of fertilizer and everything being short. I mean, it's probably the two biggest conversations in ag right now.
That's right.
People I know. I mean, those are the two things everybody talks about. So yeah.
Yeah. In ours, with our portfolio, and specifically the big three products, right? The Edge, Avadex, and Fortress.
Yeah.
What we had in place was built really well for the current demand that we had, right? Well, then demand doubled in a year, and we didn't respond very well, or we didn't react very well, I should say. So, in my opinion, it's what you do moving forward, right? You learn from your mistakes, and then you put some things in place that put you in a better position to serve the grower at the end of the day. And I think we've done that. Again, won't be perfect. And we're still going to be continuing to implement new strategies, and they'll give us additional flexibility and additional responsiveness. But it's about doing something about it, I think. And I think we've done that.
Because like I'd like to get all my AvidX Edge Fortress done in the fall, but some years you're combining in November, and I'm sure that affects demand for your product, like as versus the spring applied, and I'm sure that's an ongoing challenge.
Absolutely. There's only one thing that's right about any forecast that's out there, Norm, and that's that it's wrong, right? To some extent, it's wrong. But you learn from history, you learn from some mistakes, and you sit down with people and you just try to understand what they're experiencing. Some customers give us great forecasts, right, and they stick to them. Others maybe not so much, but at the end of the day, it's kind of having your finger on the pulse and looking into that crystal ball and hoping that you're right. Obviously it's more strategic than that. Like we sit down every month and we're reviewing our 2-year rolling forecast based on what we learned that week or that month. But yeah, it's a challenge. I do think with demand increasing as herbicide resistance continues to grow, I think we've reached a bit of a tipping point, right? And so when you reach that tipping point, it does go from what is initially a manageable set of circumstances that you can work with to something, oh wow, we have to change how we're doing things. And it happens very quickly, and predicting that tipping point is very difficult. And then Levi mentioned he'd love to get all of his pre-emergent applications done in the fall. Well, what if we don't have a fall, right, to do that? What if we don't have a window to do that? And that just happened not all that long ago. So then that just tips the scales in the other direction, where we build up for all this huge demand, and then we don't have the fall window to apply our products. And then you have to get as much as you can out in spring. But, guys like Levi only have so many hours in the day where they can get out there and do it. So, I don't think demand is difficult to predict. I think it's the ability to actually get out there and apply these effective programs that we've been trying to preach for so long. Having the time to do them and the weather to do them, it plays such a significant factor, especially in Western Canada.